What is up, guys? You're listening to the MFCEO Project. I'm Andy. I'm your host, and I am the motherfucking CEO. Guys, if this is your first time listening, welcome. This is a personal development, entrepreneur, success podcast. We are here to teach you how to be your own MFCEO so that you can go through life kicking ass and feeling good about yourself and basically being the fucking man. And if you're not a man, you can still be the fucking man. As always, I have my co-host here, Vaughn, the pastor of disaster.
I'm really digging the dramatic pauses, you know?
I got to change it up, dude, because I'm even getting tired of hearing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So since I'm not that creative, I figured the best way to do it would be just to pause.
Yeah. No, it's good.
You know?
Sometimes they call that a pregnant pause, but I don't know if that'd be good.
Were you Vaughn the impregnator?
You actually are. Hopefully not for you.
Yeah, 3 times.
But yeah, 3 times.
3 times now.
Yeah.
You got those super sperms.
I'm 3 for 0. Or 3. Sorry.
Dude, how
3,
do you
3 for 3.
How do you get how do you get your wife pregnant if you guys don't have sex?
Well,
I mean, you're pastor. You're like all holy and everything.
Right.
Like
Because pastors don't have sex.
Yeah.
Right. Former pastors, just in case.
Oh, that's why you left. Now we know why you left.
Right.
Guys, we have an awesome show lined up for you today. We have a living legend when it comes to personal development, marketing, success, one of the biggest names in the history of this segment, a guy who has inspired not only guys like me, but basically everybody else that you see out there inspiring people right now. He is one of the key guys, along with Tony Robbins, that has been around for since the beginning of this whole space. So I'd like to welcome Dean Graziosi. You guys have probably seen him on TV. He's the fucking man. What's up, dude?
It's good to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm glad
good to be here.
It's
I like the pauses too. It's very dramatic. Yeah. I was into it. I was waiting for what was I was on the edge of my seat.
Dude, it's funny because sometimes when we have guests, like they've never heard the podcast before, so when they see me go do the intro, they get scared. Like they got these big old eyes, like holy fuck, or they laugh. You could hear them laughing. But
no, I'm fired up. Let's
something
rock
funny
this.
when I was just looking stuff up is that I typed in. I mean, I didn't know off the top of my head how to spell your name, so I typed it kind of weird. And I had heard that there was there's an ESPN guy, and his name is Dan Graziosi, right?
Okay.
So that's fairly close. So I got a lot closer to his name than your name, but the Google monster said, "Did you mean Dean Graziosi?"
Oh, so that's when you know you made it.
That's when you know you made it.
When Google says, "Did you mean?" and then your name pops up.
Right.
That's like when people type in "handsome man" and my name pops
up.
Did you mean Andy Frisella?
That's how I searched you yesterday, dude. I just wanted to make sure I had it all
That's how most people find me. Yeah. So you guys, Dean is new to Instagram, and I'm just going to say this up front. This is a guy who I've been watching for literally the last 17, 18 years, okay? You guys need to follow him, okay? So I'm going to ask you right now. I'm going to ask you again at the end. So make sure that you're following Dean. I just want to say, too, man, it's like an honor to have you here.
Oh, thanks, dude.
I remember watching you on TV when I was literally struggling in business and broke, and like seeing your commercials and your infomercials and the things. Dude, it just inspired me, man. Like I told you before we got on, you and Tony have made a big difference in my life, dude. It's really cool to have you. Thank you for saying
it. And it's an honor to be here too. I watch how you serve and how you serve from your heart and give back. I mean, you watch, there's the internet and Facebook and social media has given such an amazing platform that people have people have a voice. When I first started 20 years ago, the only outlet was I did infomercials, right? It would cost $1 million to get going and momentum, and it had a really high entry point, right? But the internet has given people a voice. The good thing is it gives a voice like yours and what you guys do here to the world. Bad news is there's a lot of shit out there.
Dude,
right? But it's okay. But you know what? I've watched it for years and been here so long. The people that are fake, the people that don't live authentically and share because they actually, I'm in your office right now. It's fucking badass
thank you.
And huge. You got an amazing company that you run. This is what you share on these podcasts. What you guys share is from experience and wisdom. Not something you read for 5 minutes and trash other people. So the reason I'm here, I appreciate you saying it's not, but I'm here because I watch your stuff and I admire it. And, this is what we do. Like the more people we help, the more we make, the bigger our company grows, but we leave a legacy.
Right.
We leave an imprint on what we've done.
Yeah, dude. And what's funny about, you said 2 things. First of all, dude, your legacy, you could do nothing and still leave a legacy, which is fucking cool at 49 years old, which is amazing. I hope I'm at that spot. But one thing that what's interesting about this whole space right now is you have credible guys, right? You have guys who run real companies, but there's no barrier to entry anymore. And so when you started, like you said, it costs a ton of money. Yeah. So you had to go out and be successful at other things before. So there was always like
my car business,
a living proof.
My car business and my real estate business funded my TV business.
That's right.
I was literally painting cars during the day, fixing houses at night.
Right.
And taking that money and dumping it to be on TV.
So being on TV at that time, like you were credible because you had the fucking money to be on TV. And now it's like you don't have to do anything to post. You don't have to do anything to go stand in front of somebody's fucking jet and be like, oh yeah, DM me for success. Like, dude, we need to clean out the shit. Like there's like a dozen guys that are good, and there's a fucking million that are suck.
Yeah.
I feel bad because like when I was younger, I could easily identify who was credible, right? Like I could say, okay, this dude's on TV. He's fucking credible. Yeah. Now you can't do that anymore. So like, how do these, I feel bad for the younger guys because they're trying to figure out who the fuck to listen to.
No, I get that. I mean, especially because TV's been my focus for 20 years, right? So we just decided to really obsess on social media in the last 6 months, right? Yeah. So a lot of times I'll do a post, people like it, but like, who the fuck are you? Or are you the new guy on the block? It's like, I've been doing this before you were born, right? And that's all right, because here's what I know. I watched it on TV. People will copycat. People who aren't authentic will pop up and be your competitors for a little while. But think about your foundational business. How many competitors have come up, you got nervous for 5 minutes, but you did the right thing. You have the right success habits, the success criteria, the rituals. Right. You stay steadfast, you build wisdom. They have, they might have a little energy to start, but you have the stamina through, inner self-wisdom, right? And they just fade away, right? Or it's healthy competition.
You know what?
And I feel
I like competition. I really do, because I'm the kind of guy like, dude, if I feel somebody running up, I run faster. You know what I mean? It's like when you're a little kid and you got to take the trash out at night and you got to walk to the end of the driveway and it's dark, and then you leave the can and you turn around and run as fast as you can.
Absolutely.
Back to that. Like that's how I am when somebody's chasing me, I run faster.
Yeah, same, exactly. Yeah. Healthy competition is needed. Yeah. And I think just like TV used to, it'll self-select. Yeah. But the crap will self-select. Yeah. You can only go so long preaching that you can help people, but if you don't have the substance behind it, they become yesterday's news.
I think if people would just take a minute to vet people, like, hey, ask people, what businesses did you run before you did this? You know what I mean? How did you'll save yourself a lot, because you're going to figure out real quick that people that run a business are full of shit. But dude, so I want to start in on the podcast and basically,
let's do it.
You grew up in a poor family where your parents were divorced and you're basically raised by your grandma. Talk a little bit about that upcoming and what you learned coming from that background.
First of all,
because people probably look at you, dude, and when they look at wealthy people, because you're a very wealthy guy now, people look at wealthy people and they always assume that the end product was that. Right. Like you grew up that way, or you had rich parents, or you had an advantage. And I know that's not true because I didn't have that. But I'd like to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest myths. Again, today I hope we can, in this time, I want to give as many nuggets as you can. And what I always say is, anybody, when you're listening right now or watching right now, it's like, take what serves you and throw the rest away. A lot of times we'll go to an event and there's so much wisdom and knowledge coming at you, you're like overwhelmed. But there's going to be 2 or 3 things that one of us is going to say today that'll make an impact on your life. Like, it'll course correct your life if you just take 1 or 2 and freaking implement it in your life rather than just being inspired. So I'll say that to everybody. But I think one of the biggest things I learned along the journey is that there's no one magic key to success. Like even stuff, the magic money machines online, like there's no one simple thing, but it's not as hard as people think because there's not a lot of competition at the top.
Right. The competition is the fiercest at the bottom because there's the most people.
When people say, like I'll teach my kids that they're in both in sports, that practice and hard work pays off. You fucking got to work, right? But not practicing the wrong thing.
That's right.
Get the knowledge from somebody like you who's run a successful business. Start off where you're leaving off. And I think, so backing up, I mean, I don't want to share like an infomercial story, but I lived with my mom. They split up and they were married 9 times between them. I moved 20 times. Yeah. There was a year I lived in a bathroom with my dad. Yeah. We literally didn't have lunch money. I'd go to school, tell my friends I wasn't hungry, right? Yeah. But those days, that was just part of my journey. And when you start realizing, and Tony's got a great line for this, that what if life happens for us, not to us? What
Yeah.
if that was my destiny? Like, I wouldn't have been a fucking hustler if I had
I
it all.
believe that.
Right? Not that I have friends that had great childhoods and they're badasses.
Dude.
So you don't have to come from a bad childhood.
Right.
I just happened to come that way, and it gave me momentum because
Right.
I hated watching my parents struggle. I hated that everything was worried about money. I hated where they thought money was evil because they didn't have it. So many people listening right now have myths in their core about money, thinking that only the rich get richer, it takes money, or people get lucky, or you have to invent fucking Facebook. You don't.
Right.
Right? And
Right.
the only thing I realized is that the more I didn't listen to what the norm was, the more I modeled people that were actually successful, not the ones who talked about it, right? I didn't have access to the internet when I was a
Right,
kid. It didn't
right, me
exist.
neither. Yeah.
It didn't exist, right? So I had to model people that were successful, and that's where I picked up habits of people that were happier than my parents, had more money than my parents, they did more fun things than my parents, and then I just literally started adopting those habits in my life.
Right.
And
Who was the first person that you noticed? Like maybe as a big time name, or maybe somebody local.
No, I mean, when I was probably in my 30s, Tony Robbins made a huge impact. When I was a kid, it was the people in my town who had money.
Yeah.
Richard Noto, he's an older guy, 65. I took a liking to him, became friends, and I just saw how he thought. I saw how he worked. I saw his focus. I saw that he never talked bad about one single person ever.
Yeah.
He wasn't envious of other people's success. He'd admire other people's success.
Right.
All of a sudden you have these, something goes wrong. He didn't throw his hands up. He'd figure out a solution. All the little things that sometimes seem simple are really the foundation of why you do so
You
well.
know what's so funny, dude, that you say that is I don't know any truly successful person that doesn't celebrate other successful people's success.
Fuck, dude, before I knew you, one of my team members, Jeremy, who you've been talking to, he said, you got to check out this guy, Andy. Dude, I was celebrating what you do. I mean, probably a year ago. I didn't know I was going to meet you. Didn't know.
Yeah.
I loved it. I saw what you were doing.
But but it's against what people perceive it to be, right? They think that like the way you got ahead was by, killing everybody and this and that. But the funny thing is like, when you get to a certain level, all those people, they want you to win and you want them to win because everybody wins together and you learn from everybody. It's really cool because I feel like, when you're in that struggle period, right? And I don't want to say the bottom, but like you're in the beginning, maybe a better word. Everybody's trying to cut each other's throat and nobody wants to share information and nobody wants to tell anybody anything. And it's funny because when you get to
collective wisdom is the fastest way to grow.
Yeah, dude. When you get to that level where you're making 7 figures or 8 figures and you're around people like that, dude, everybody's willing to help each other. Like it's super unselfish behavior.
Yeah, and you know what I want to share, because listen, if you're listening right now and you're below 25 or you're 30, a lot of times if you're 40, if you're 70, if you're 90, a lot of times people think, well, he's not where I am. Like, he doesn't know what I'm dealing with.
Right.
And they'll say that probably listening to you. And the thing I want to share is I lived in a fucking bathroom. I have dyslexia. I was in special reading till 11th grade. I never went to college, and all I thought is someday I'm going to be a mechanic. If I can make $50,000 a year, I'll be the richest guy. I mean, that's what I thought as a kid. I was embarrassed to if it was time to read in front of the class, I'd skip school because I couldn't read that good, right? So the only reason I share that is not to be like, poor me. What I share that for is no matter where you are, if you're listening right now, I've been there. I went to school without money. I used credit cards up to $50,000 to when I was in my teens trying to make a business go, and it fucking failed. And now I had $50,000 in credit, no college education.
Before you even get started.
Right. And then I started a business I had a collision shop and an auto sales, and then I started buying apartments with no money down. And there was times I went completely broke. I was living on nothing, but then I got to $100,000 a year. So I know what it's like to go from 0 to 100. I know it's like to go to 100 to $100,000 a year to my company doing $1 million a year and then $10 million a year. And my company's broke $220 million a couple of years ago in sales in 1 year. So I've been on every level. So and I know your journey as well. So when you listen, don't listen from the perspective of like, oh, you're already rich, you don't understand how I feel. We know how you feel. We've had the sleepless nights. I've gone months without fucking sleeping. I've been up early. I almost lost everything I had a couple times. So I know the feeling. And the more challenges and the more successes you have, it becomes a gut feeling, which is really just wisdom. When people talk about wisdom, they give crafty names. Yeah, it's just you've been fucked enough.
Yeah, that's right. You had your ass beat enough.
You had your ass beat enough that you
that's
know
exactly what
you know what
say.
road not to go down. When you go that road, it hurts, right? So you know which way to steer your ship.
You feel it before it even starts to happen.
Oh yeah,
eventually.
You're sick to your stomach. It's like,
no,
oh, this ain't going right. This ain't going right.
It's funny too because like, dude, I know this is true because you just said it. Like, I have been fucked over so many times that literally now, like when I meet somebody in the first fucking minute I meet them, I can already tell. I can feel it.
It's your
dude.
gut.
Yeah.
No, it's your gut. So
I'm like, I'll stay away from this motherfucker, and it always works because what happens is because I'm already in my mind, I'm polite to him, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Hey, yeah. It's nice.
But you already know.
But then I get like the email or the mail from them as trying they try to suck me in. I'm like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
I fucking did that before.
But I have to tell you, and I mean this with all sincerity, everybody listening right now, I admire them because what I thought in my teens and my 20s is the only way I could figure shit out is through my own trial and error. And that's like so 1990.
Right.
Like that's the stupidest way to learn in the history
learn
of the
from
world.
everybody else's mistakes.
Learn from everybody else's mistakes. Like I was, and it sounds like I'm bragging, but I'm blessed to be dear friends with Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I spent 3
Now that's how you know when you made it. When you feel like you're bragging, you know what I'm saying? When like when when you made it, when other people are bragging, think they're bragging, they say they're friends with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tony's doing okay.
Yeah, Tony's doing all right,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, I had the chance to spend three years in a row, a week straight with Richard Branson on his private island, right? Because I helped. Only reason I got there, only reason I did this because I raised $1 million for his charity, and cut a big check for myself, and got my way into the island. We became friends. He invited me back 2 years in a row. But when I look at what those guys shared, Richard and I, we sailed around his island. He gets up at 5, so did I. Nobody else on the island did. He's like, you want to sail? I spent 3 hours, just me and him sailing. I learned more in that 3 hours.
I'd get up 5 just to do that, man.
Yeah,
I'd be up.
But in those 3 hours, I just shut up and listened.
Yeah.
I asked 5 or 6 strategic questions, and I listened. I mean, think how much that guy's been through before me, and I got to rob that.
Yeah.
Right?
Saves you literally tens of millions of dollars and years.
Years. I mean, one thing. Listen, I run some high-level masterminds. I shared some of the people in our group. We get together and share. All you got to do is go around the room and share what's the one best thing you've realized in the last 90 days to scale your business. Craig Clemens, Dan Sullivan, all these amazing
studs.
Russell Brunson.
Yeah.
They share that. Fuck, I'm writing like crazy, but I give mine best, and they're writing like crazy. So I didn't mean to digress there. Other than saying, if you're listening right now, I admire the shit out of you because you're not just talking about it. You're not someone that wishes. You're not just hoping you'll get rich or pick the right crypto coin. Fuck all that.
Oh, dude,
get your shit going.
Don't even get me started with that shit.
You know what I mean? Like, get your shit going and know that there's no magic money machines. There's just time and following someone else's path that's already carved it before you.
Yeah. Dude, we talk a lot, especially about this. I think this is something that, and I'm interested to hear what you think on this because I believe it to be fact. We have a situation, breaking free of the mental mindset of being quote unquote poor or broke or whatever, financially, right? Financially struggling. When a child grows up, and you could think about this, when you grow up and when I grow up and when other people grow up, you learn from your parents and you love your parents. You listen to everything they say. You're taught to listen to your teachers. You're taught to listen to your guidance counselor. You're taught to listen to your coaches. And you look at like where your parents were, right? They're probably lower middle class people. If you're listening right now, that's pretty much our demographic. Your coaches are probably the same. Your teachers are probably the same. And for your whole life, you hear these things put into your head, like your dad comes home and he's pissed off. He's like, oh, my boss did this. He's that rich fucker, blah, 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 right? You hear these comments, these little comments that people don't even know they're fucking making for 20 years, right? What do you think your beliefs are going to be about success? You're going to believe that it's a good thing to be average. You're going to believe that it's a bad thing to be rich. You're going to believe that,
what's every movie? Every movie, the rich guy's the fucking villain.
Exactly.
Right.
But dude, breaking free of that mentality, you did that. I did that. Okay. Now I came from, my dad was a successful guy. I was very lucky I had my dad, but we weren't wealthy. Okay. Doing that is one of the hardest things for people to do because when they start to do it, right, they start to pull away and they start to listen and they start to repeating things that they hear from like you or Tony. Yeah. They get fucking shit on by everybody, right? Their parents are like, what the fuck are you doing? Why do you want to be wealthy? Money's not everything. You're being selfish. And they get hammered hard. And what I want people to realize is like you said, that you had respect for everybody listening. I do too, because by you even listening to this, it says something about your pursuit and what you're willing to go through. And 2, what I want you to know is something you touched on. The competition at the beginning, when you're first trying to break free of that circle that you've had your whole entire life to think a different way, that's when it's the fucking hardest.
It is.
That's when everybody that you love and trust and depended on and learned from your whole life is going to look at you and they're going to fucking say things to you that upset you and hurt you. And guys, I have to tell you, man, as much as that sucks, it's 10 times better when you start to meet people who have the same views and the same visions and the same. And
you're so right.
Yeah, because like, dude, I can remember when I started my business and people would say things to me, even family members. Dude, when are you going to grow up and get a real job? Do you still own that little vitamin shop? You know, when are you guys going to get serious about this? And fucking everything in between, right? We were making no money. I made $0 the first 3 years, $695 the next 7 years. Okay. So you're in the struggle period where things aren't going well. Then you have on top of it, everybody that you love and respect telling you you're fucking up. Right. But I have to tell you guys, and I want you to, you know, tell them what you think on this too, because when you get out of that, like when you break free of that, of what we're talking about, that struggle at the bottom, and you start to move up and align yourself with people who feel the same way, dude, life becomes way, way better because you're aligned. And it would be the same for those people, like that are they think that way. They're more comfortable and their life is better around people that think that way.
Of course.
So understand that, like, when you're trying to break out of that system, that it's going to be the hardest fucking time as an entrepreneur.
It's the absolute hardest part. I mean,
yes.
think it's so you hit right on it. I mean, I talk about that all the time because I remember I had like a fucking intervention with my family when I started you understand, I was a broke kid, started a car business, started doing pretty good. Then all of a sudden I got a couple no money down real estate deals. I got 20 apartments under my belt. I'm flipping cars. And all of a sudden I'm going to write a book and go in the infomercial business.
Dean, who do you think you are?
No, I mean, you get to a point where people either you got lucky or you're an asshole. So if you try and fail, it's like I knew Andy was going to fail anyway. And then if you tried something and it worked, you're like, oh, lucky bastard.
Yeah.
And there's no in between.
Exactly.
Right? So I had my family sit down and say, hey, from where you came from, without having money, you don't have a college education, you're doing a couple $100,000 a year with your car business. Stop
fine.
it, Dean.
You're fine.
Stop it.
You're fine.
Stop being a dreamer. This is the end. And luckily, I realized that, like, I broke through the first time. I had to break through that barrier.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to realize, like, a couple of the little things that I'll share is think of the people you surround yourself with, right? And think of if you would replace your life immediately with the people who give you advice and tell you you're a dreamer. I've been doing that for so many years, Andy. Like, I'll see something like, oh, listen, you can't do it this way. And immediately I'll go, what if I fucking woke up tomorrow and looked in the mirror and I was this guy? I'd shoot myself. Yeah. Right? I'd shoot myself. Somebody's got a job who's even making $300,000 a year, but they're answering to somebody. They're a time and effort community. They have to go to work. They only get paid. I mean, I admire. We need lawyers. We need doctors. Where would we be without them?
Right.
But even a doctor, the best doctor, he's getting clocked in every fucking hour. A lawyer, even if he gets $600 an hour, he's still working by the hour.
Right.
I'm going to go to bed tonight and make money. So are you.
Right.
But because we just broke through that norm. Right. And you know, I think I don't want to go back to
about what you're saying. Like, if you literally think about your life, okay? Because this is exactly what happens. You're surrounded by everybody who's telling you can't, and you're crazy, and what are you doing, and why you do? Who the fuck do you think you are? You're too good for us now. All that shit, right? And you take all those people away and you replace them with people that tell you
you can do this.
You can do this, dude. You're killing it.
You're a fucking badass.
And because that's what it's like. Yeah, and that's the difference. Like, dude, you get out of that circle and you get around people that are have the same goals, and that's what you have. You take away you're basically cutting an anchor off your fucking boat and replacing it with a jet engine.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. I mean, think. I want to talk about the myths of money, right? Because you said that and you hit a point, because there's people listening right now still going, yeah, but you don't get where I came from, or you don't get what my family's like or what my friends are like, right? And think about well,
that's a fucking thing too, right, Dean? Like, that's, dude, you need to get over the fact that you think you're a fucking special circumstance, because you're not.
You're not. We all have our shit, right? And they listening right now. I love this when Tony says it, but you get to make the decision right now that you're not going to listen to anybody's shit anymore. I mean, think about, I won't go back too far, but this is what I want to say, and I hesitated because I don't want to digress too much. But the way the school system is created, I just did a lot of research on this. It's still built around the Industrial Revolution, right? You think when Ford and Firestone and way back when the Industrial Revolution boomed, they started making schools, so there was buzzers and bells and lunch hours. So when people got out of school, going to work for fucking Ford on an assembly line didn't seem that fucking bad. Right? We never changed that shit. In school, they want you to sit, be quiet, and don't collaborate. If we didn't collaborate with other successful people, I'd be broke as shit.
I would too.
I'd still be slinging fenders on cars, right? So
Bro, I'd be working the counter at one of my stores.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And the other thing too is I want to give everybody permission right now to throw away, and I don't want to, and you want to reel me back in, I might digress.
No, dude,
but this is so fucking important.
No, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
So you're fine.
Okay, so I want you to, the biggest lie we've ever been told in the history of the world is to work on your weaknesses. It's full of shit. And all it does when there's so many people listening right now that are saying, I'd love to do what Andy did. I'd love to do what Dean did, but you don't understand, man, I'm not good at reading, or, I'm not that good with bookkeeping, or I'm afraid to talk to
You're
people.
You're fucking good at something?
Right. Or I could never do public speaking. I could never sit and I'd love to talk to Andy, but I'd get so nervous.
Yeah.
Like, so what happens is you carry that because we're taught in school to fix your weaknesses. Fuck your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Pay someone eventually to do the shit you're weak at.
Yeah.
Get amazing at what you're good at. If you feel inferior about something, there's a couple things that happen. First, you were probably judged by an outdated scorecard. I had Miss Thompson all through 7th grade tell me, you're a loser, you're pathetic, just fucking sound it out. I couldn't. I had dyslexia and didn't know it. I'm like, I can't sound it out.
Yeah.
And I remember going years thinking, man, I'll be lucky to be a mechanic someday.
Yeah.
If I listened to Miss Thompson, if I listened to Mr. Beale in 10th grade.
Bro, I had a fucking
counselor
tell me straight to my face. I told him, I said, I was going to take the ACT, and he was like, he's like, I said I wanted to go to Duke or Notre Dame or one of these schools, and he looks at me right in the face and he goes, well, Andy, those schools are for like the cream of the crop. And I'm thinking, yeah, and I wasn't short on confidence really, And he's like, well, you're like a 2.0 student, and he's like, I'd be surprised if you got an 18. And I'm like, an 18? I'm like, what's a good score? And he's like, well, a 24, you should be thrilled. I fucking went out the night before. I got drunk as fuck and I smoked a bunch of weed and I got a 30.
Nice.
Yeah. The problem with me was that fucking school was not hard enough. It was too easy.
Yeah,
so I got bored.
And the only reason, I get it.
Sorry to get off track with that.
No, don't get off track. I love it. I just want to loop it back around and just giving everybody permission listening right now to stop believing the shit that you were told because it's not true. You might have been outdated by a bad scorecard. You might have parents that think they're protecting you because they went bankrupt or they were stuck in a fucking job. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that they have an outdated rule. Successful people don't think like everybody else.
Right.
If you're thinking like all your buddies and you don't like the money they make and you don't like the lives they live or the worries they have or the negative piddly talk that they do, if you hang around and do what they do, you just get what they get.
You're always.
Right? So,
and by default, no matter how much you don't want it, you're going to have it. Dude, it's so important to be aware of this. And people just aren't. And then when they become aware of it, they start making excuses of why they want to keep people. And they're like, well, he's been my friend since 2nd grade, or it's my mom, or, it's my best friend, or, they make these excuses as to why to keep them there. And every time we talk about this, people are like, well, what about if it's your dad? Or what about if it's your mom? Well, I said what I said, and there was no fucking exceptions to it. So
you can love them, but you have to listen to them.
That's right.
And I say, when people say, well, my dad thinks this, I'm like, would you replace your life with your dad's right now? Not critical. He's probably the best dad in the world.
Right.
But do you want to live his life for 40 years?
Right.
Or do you want to do something? Listen, when I was in my 20s, I retired both my parents. Both of them who thought I was fucking nuts haven't worked since I was 27 years old. They get new cars. They get checks every fucking week.
Yeah.
They don't question me anymore.
Right.
Believe me, they don't question me anymore. And to go a little bit further on that, don't work on your weaknesses, just to clarify this, is the more time you spend working on something you're not good at, the more you rob your confidence. And let me just ask you this. Could you be as successful as you are without your confidence?
No. But
it's impossible.
I also earned the confidence.
Of course.
A little bit at a time.
Right. And you earn it by getting better at what you're good at.
Right.
So when I say that, pay someone else to do it, you're just like, Dean, I don't have a dollar to my name.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is fine tune what you're good at.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you a quick example. I was 20 years old, and I owned a 10-unit apartment house. When I was 18, I bought this old rundown house. A guy gave it to me with no money down, and I'd fix one apartment up, and I'd live in it while I worked on the next one. And when the next one was almost done, I'd move in it. When it wasn't done, and I'd rent the one I was in. I'd use that money to go. So it took me a year. I'd get these done. And my dad never made more than $30,000 a year. I love my dad, great guy.
Yeah.
He was born during a depression, so he still had that mindset, right? So
total scarcity.
So now I'm in my early 20s. I got a collision shop. I have about 20 apartments, and I started building my first house to sell. And I realized on Saturdays, my dad always taught me, do everything yourself. Don't pay somebody for something that you could do, right? Completely wrong mindset. Completely wrong. Told me not to borrow money from the bank. Completely wrong. You can leverage it, right? But long story short, so this fucking place had a lawn that was like 5 acres. Every Saturday, my eyes would be watering. I'm weed whacking and mowing the lawn. Take me all freaking day. A buddy of mine who's like, still works for me 18 years, a million years later, a lot more than 18. He says, I'll mow it all for $50. So my dad comes up on a Saturday and he pulls in and sees me leaving and I got someone else mowing my lawn. My dad, an Italian guy, had a fucking temper. He
Yeah.
loses his mind. Every curse word you could possibly
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
And he's going, oh, fucking big shot. So he's saying, fucking big shot. You
Yeah.
got somebody mowing your lawn. He's like, I guess you don't mind the language.
Oh, fuck no, man.
My dad said, you know what? You're fucked.
Yeah.
You're fucked. You're a big shot now. Get somebody to mow the lawn. And here's what I thought about as soon as he left. He left spinning the wheels of his car so much. It was a gravel driveway. He freaking dented the whole side of my car.
Yeah.
Because he hit the gas, like ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
But when he left, I thought to myself, I'm on to something. Because he struggled his whole life trying to do it all himself. And here's what I thought about. What is the return on investment of that $50? If I go to my collision shop and do one deal, I could probably make $1,000 that day.
Right.
If I go to the auto sales and I sell one car, I could probably make $2,500. Or if I go find another real estate deal, I could make $50,000. So anything I did was either $1,000 or a $10,000 return on that $50.
Right.
And when I got that mindset, I thought about it for everything. I'm not good at reading and spelling. I wrote my first book. I gave it to an editor, and the editor says, this isn't a book. It's a 300-page conversation. You need to rewrite the whole thing. It put me in a loop. I shouldn't try to write a book, and I had dyslexia. And then I was like, no, fuck this. It's a good story.
Yeah.
So I fired her. I hired someone else and said, I can't write good. I don't have good grammar or good English, but the stories are amazing. So just clean up my shit and leave it. That was my first book, totally fulfilled. It was a New York Times bestseller
Yeah.
in 7 days. And that wasn't a promotion. It just fucking hit the bookstore and went nuts,
Yeah.
right? That book almost didn't live because someone was telling me to work on my weaknesses
Yeah.
because that's how she was programmed.
Right,
But
right.
she was she's great at writing, but what does she do? She edits other people's books. I'm not being
She's not even writing her own
disrespectful,
fucking shit.
but I could tell she dreamed of writing her own books because
Yeah.
then when it became a New York Times bestseller, she's like, how did you do it? It's like, you're fucking dreaming. But
I did what I said I was going to do that you said I couldn't do.
Exactly. So I just want to give everybody permission right now that you're not a fucking dreamer. Don't work on your weaknesses. Find out what you're good at and get so damn good at it that you can pay other people to do this shit you suck at. But again, the other problem is people have this misconception of I need a business plan, and then I got to get business cards, and then I got it's unfortunate that we were all taught the wrong thing.
Exactly.
We were all taught the wrong
Dude,
thing.
I grew up thinking that shit too, man. Like thinking, I can remember the first time I tried it. I was like you. I was trying to do shit my whole life, like baseball cards, lemonade stand.
Me too. Did it all.
Fucking everything, right? Dude, I thought, once you had a business card, once you had an office, you fucking made it, man. Like I thought that's what business was
people
about.
will spend 3 months designing their logo.
Yeah,
Fuck
right.
the logo.
No,
Put a shit
it
stain
doesn't
on it
mean
and market
shit,
it
right.
good, and it'll work better.
Dude, people just don't. They buy into. First of all, getting back to like what you were saying about school, like all of this goes together. They're fucking immersed in mediocrity their whole entire life.
Yep.
Okay, none of the people that you're surrounded by know anything about succeeding. Nothing. They fucking know nothing. Now they might love you. They might be great people, but they know nothing about making money and nothing about financial success. And then you go out and you think it's not possible. Well, no fucking shit. You think it's not possible, but it is, because they'll teach you that it's magic or it's luck or it's mystical. And dude, it fucking is possible. It's an equation of math, like we always say. It's A plus B equals C. That's it. But the one thing that people don't, I think they're starting to realize it, but if you really want to wake the fuck up and like get like 10,000 foot view of what school is all about teaching you how to show up on time, how to follow fucking directions, how to go home, do your shit at home, come back and become somebody who can be employable somewhere else.
Yeah.
And become a fucking robot. That's why you need a degree to work certain places, because they want you to be who you are and be good at that and never fucking ask for anything and never develop and stay and be that cog.
Why do you think right now that Valium is the #1 prescription in America? Because people are finally fucking have exposed to realize that what we were taught, that you should go be in the middle, you should do what everybody else says, show up on time, do your work, and go home, get the 401k, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
People are finally saying, that ain't fucking enough. I'm not going to be a robot. I want to live. I want to find my passion. I want to be in better health. I want to be more, I don't want to come home and look at my phone
Why
when
do
my
you think
kids are
there's
trying to
such
talk
an
to me.
awakening now versus back?
Because
I think
social media.
Yeah,
social
me too.
media. Like when did you used to read? When I was a kid, there was the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Right.
With,
That's why it was
on
mystical.
fucking TV. It was
Right.
mystical. It was
Right.
like, oh, you could never reach that, right?
Right.
And it's all of a sudden once you break that. Again, I admire you for listening and listen every single chance you get to this guy, but you got to realize that this is something everybody listening can make a part of their life. Like, you have to get rid of but if you have a but, find out what that story is. One thing I love to say, and I've done this my whole life, is what's standing between you and your next level of life, of what you want, isn't the economy. It's not the fucking president. It's not what the Congress is going to do. It doesn't matter if you live in Kansas City or St. Louis or Phoenix or New York. It doesn't matter if your parents had money, if you went to college. What's standing between you and the life you desire is the fucking story you tell yourself. If you say, I'm not smart enough, then you're not. If you say, I didn't make this up.
You are what the fuck you are. Like, what you believe you are is exactly
and I'm not.
what you
we
are.
didn't make this up.
No,
I've been saying it in personal development forever, but it's the truth.
Know exactly. When you first read that somewhere, which I know because you love to read and consume content. When you first read that somewhere, you probably thought,
that's bullshit.
Yeah, right. Like, but as you get through the journey and you get to a certain point, you look back, you're like, then you see the same quote, you're like, holy fuck, dude, that's exactly true. Like, it's so true that I make fun of myself for thinking it was bullshit.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
I'm gonna tell you a little story.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine. This is about life. What you focus on is what you become, is what you get. You think it's not going to work out. You think the relationship's not going to work. It just goes in that direction. I'm going to be 50 this year. I can't believe it, but it's so real that when
I'll tell you a fucking example of this shit right now. I'm sitting here with you. I'm sitting here with you, okay? Like, dude, you guys don't understand. Like, I've watched Dean on TV for fucking 15, 20 years. I got an invite to go to Tony Robbins' event from Tony himself through Ed Milet. Like, dude, I've focused on success and consuming this kind of content and becoming someone who lives it and becoming a student of success and obsessed over it so hard that now we're sitting here together.
No, it's awesome. No, same with me. Tony's one of my best friends. 15 years ago, I wrote in a journal, all I want to do is meet him and thank him.
Right.
I got the chance to meet him
That's
and
all I
thank
wanna
him.
do, too.
We were going to spend an hour together. We spent 2 days together.
Yeah.
Right? And we've been buds ever since. But that was, I was sitting there with Tony. I was telling you earlier, if somebody would have said to me 10 years ago,
that he's going to be one of your best friends.
Or you could meet anybody you want. Any fucking living legend. It would have been Tony because he made such an impact on my life.
Right.
And that's why I love giving it back. That's why I know you do too. But I'm telling you this story really quick about what you focus on. Is right now, as you're listening to us, if you got a pen or you want to write it in your phone, think about, as we're talking about, you could live that next level. You could make more money. I guarantee there's a but going on right now. But these guys don't know that my parents suck. I don't have money. I'm not that smart. I live in the wrong place. There's a but. That's just a fucking story. And you could prove that story's a lie by Googling it and find people who had the same shit as you and they're living successful. Yeah. But one thing that always comes to mind is, a buddy of mine takes him and a bunch of dads. They take like 15 high school boys on whitewater rafting in Colorado, right? So they're going to do this trip. And it rains for a week before they go. And I don't know rapids. I've never done it, but I guess they go from 0 to 5 or 1 to 5. There were 5s.
Yeah.
So all these dads, they got like 15 kids. A lot of the parents aren't there. They're like, shit, I'm going to kill somebody. Kid, we're not going to do this. And he told me the story. He didn't know he was telling me that I hear stories and they imprint on me for life. You're probably the same way. You guys probably get that. So he says, all of a sudden this guide comes out, looks like he's 60 years old, ripped, just looks like a mountain guy, right?
Yeah.
Comes out, he goes, boys, get in the rafts. We're fine. He said, he gets in the raft. He said, just want to tell you this. And he puts his finger up. And he goes, you see this finger? I've been doing this for 35 years, never lost a person. But this is the only thing you got to do. This is called the positive point. He said, all I ask you boys to do is commit to one thing. Wherever I point, you focus in that direction and you paddle your guts out to get in that direction, and we'll be fine. He goes, if I ever pointed to the rock or pointed to the down tree or I point to the big rapid, you'll all look, take focus off, and we'll flip over and we'll all drown. So remember, this is the positive point. Go where I point. And that's fucking life.
That's fucking genius,
dude. But that's life,
That
right?
is life.
Because right now, people are listening right now, they're pointing towards the rocks. They're going, yeah, but. If you point it, it's self-fulfilling. If you say, I don't have money, I'm not smart enough, my friends won't support me, that's your fucking life. And if you decide today, in this very moment, change happens in an instant. If you decide right now, I'm just changing where I'm pointing. I start with a positive point. I'm pointing towards my own business. I'm pointing towards going into graphic design. I'm pointing towards I'm going to go into music and fuck what my parents say because I can do. Like, this is your moment. Like, you can decide. I'm just shifting what I'm pointing at.
Right. Dude, I love it, man. I think that's a great story, dude.
Amazing
that's one of my favorite stories I think I've heard on the podcast. It is the truth, too, man. What you have to realize, too, like, this goes hand in hand with what we talked about. Like, people trying to break free of that struggle, right? Like, they're like, oh, man, okay, I want to point at that. But then they get distracted. That's why it's important to fucking cut out all the riffraff that we're talking about. They're bringing negativity into your life.
Yeah, so I'm on a roll here. You can interrupt me anytime you want. But the other thing that I realized later on in life is I always have had to-do lists. I always take a yellow pad. I make 3 lines. Then I did it for years. On the left side, the left column was the things I needed to do that day. In the middle is the stuff I want to do that week. And in the right was the stuff I needed to get done that month. I did that for years. I always had a to-do list. Hungry, get up at 3 o'clock, can't go back to bed. Fuck it, I'm just going to work.
Right.
I hustled. It didn't happen by accident, right? But what I realized later on in life, and I want everybody to take this, if someone gave me this advice when I was, in my 20s, I right now I would pay $5 million for it.
Right.
Is to-do lists will always be there. What you guys have to do is create a not to-do list, because right now you're thinking time might be an issue. I can't figure it out. It's because you don't have a clear enough vision on where you want to go, and you're doing shit that doesn't take you to the life you desire. So I could talk later about how to get crystal clear vision, but think about this. If a week of your life is worth changing your life forever, right? Just a week, it's free. What am I share? If you don't think a week, then you probably shouldn't be listening to this anyway, right? So I would say for the next week, in your phone, if you carry a journal, whatever you do, document what you do. Document what people do on a daily basis. Just the big stuff. What I do. And at the end of the week, go through it. And start making notes next to each one. If it's not serving you or a bigger future or the life you want, the relationship, the money, the income, the business you want, it doesn't have to be on the to-do list. It's got to go. I mean, so many people will say they want to do it, but they'll spend 4 hours a day surfing through social
Instagram,
media, or they'll find 4 hours a day wasting time. So a not to-do list is more important than a to-do list. And here's the thing that I always teach is once you make that list of shit you're doing, you go through it and decide what you're going to eliminate, what you can delegate, and what you can automate. Right? Yeah. And all of a sudden, when people tell me they don't have time, like, you just don't have a clear enough vision.
Right.
You're doing too much shit that distracts you. You're just shallow. You're going shallow, and you need to go deep on one thing. Right? So at the end of the week, when you start doing that, delegate some shit to somebody else, throw some shit out, or automate some of your stuff, and all of a sudden, there's 5 hours a week.
Yeah.
People want a time management. You don't need a time management product. You just need to cut shit that doesn't serve you.
You know what I was just thinking as you said delegate? People have such a hard time delegating, too, because they feel weird telling other people to do shit. You know what I mean? When it's the first couple times you have to delegate, you're like, oh, well, what you have to realize is that people want shit to do.
Yeah,
they want to fucking do shit.
And it's like one man's trash, another man's treasure. Right. Shit you don't like to do, someone else loves.
That's right.
Listen, I'm so anti-bookkeeping. When my CFO or my bookkeeper or my controller sends me shit, I'm like, just break it down. I don't want to look at your 40-page spreadsheet. Right. I still can't. I just can't do. I don't look at numbers.
You want to impress me, make it simple.
But my controller, guy loves fucking numbers. Every day he's like, oh, did you see? I'm like, what do we make this week? Like, just give me high levels, marketing working or not, right?
Yeah.
So, things you don't like, someone else does.
For sure. So, dude, you mentioned your book. You've written 5 books altogether, and all sorts of different content on real estate, success, and now you've got the Millionaire Success Habits out that's killing it.
Yeah.
But the message that you have overall usually comes down to total fulfillment. Okay.
Yep.
So, what is your recommendation, or how do you see total fulfillment for someone?
I think total fulfillment.
Because a lot of people like, dude, I love making money. You love making money, right? But there's so much more to both of us. And it's a shame too, because regular people like that aren't making a lot of money, they'll look at you and they'll say, well, you fucking love money. And it's like, no, dude, this is just a tool for me to do all this other shit.
Yeah, exactly. So here's what I want to say is I love making money, but at this phase of my life, what I realized, and I probably didn't realize in my 20s, is I thought money would just solve everything.
Right.
It doesn't.
No.
Money is just an amplifier of who you are.
That's
if you're
right.
a dick, for lack of a better word, give somebody money, they're worse. It's like alcohol.
Yep.
You guys a wise ass when he's sober, you give him, he's a real wise ass, right? Or annoying, right?
Right.
But what money can do, and this is, I think, is a massive inspiration, is money can allow you just to be a better version of yourself. When money's, think about how often, if you're listening right now, how often do you think about money? How often did your parents think about it, talk about it till they talked about it because it wasn't enough?
Remove that obstacle from your life completely.
When that removed, my childhood was insanity. We all have our own stuff. My parents were married 9 times, lived with grandma, just all kinds of crazy stuff. I ignored all that. And then all of a sudden I started making money because I was obsessed with the money. When I finally made money, I had to deal with some of that stuff, and it made me a better human being. It made me have more be more empathetic for other people because I had to deal with that.
Right.
When I got money, I got a personal trainer. I got a nutritionist. I go to a naturopath and get an IV once a week. I coach I go to every practice, every game of my kids. I coach softball. I coach baseball. I get to
That's
be
awesome.
I'm a better version of me because I don't have money as a worry. So when people say, what's your definition of success? In my 20s, completely different what it is now. 30s, completely different.
Absolutely. It's
say
always an evolution.
Definition now is yesterday I have a business. My business partners are in Utah, right? So I flew up to Utah, and we had a meeting all day. I jumped on a private plane, and I flew home because my daughter was pitching. So I left there at 2:00. I was on the plane by 2:15. I landed at 3:40. My daughter's game started at 3:50. I didn't miss one pitch.
That's
right?
awesome, dude.
And that was and I blew off an afternoon meeting to be there, right? And then I was going to fly directly here to see you, and that's why I pushed it for a little bit because I wanted to go to her game.
Right.
And then this morning I wanted to cook my kids breakfast.
Yeah.
That's success to me.
I agree, man.
I'm at a phase I can't buy any more watches. I'm not that crazy. I used to be crazy about cars. I'm not that much anymore. Like for me, it's complete control of my life. Nobody tells me how to dress, how to talk, where to live, how to raise my kids.
Right.
Like nothing. That's my definition, right? So when people talk about money, does money solve problems? It's like money's not.
Sort of, it does.
Of course it does.
Right. Like
if you say money doesn't solve problems, you haven't given enough of it away.
Yeah, that's true.
Go give away $1 million and help people. You talk about solving problems.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, when people think, I guess whenever they think about money, they think about like the shit they see on Instagram, right? The dude, like fucking me sometimes, like the dude with a Lamborghini or the dude with fucking cars or this or watches. But what they don't see is the shit that, like, you know, like they don't see guys like Chris and I built our high school new facilities, a new baseball field, new football field, new weight room. They don't see that shit. And because it's hard, if you post it or say something about it, you're bragging about it, right?
Yeah.
And then, but if you don't post it, everybody thinks you're greedy as fuck. So it's like you're in this fucking like catch-22. But
so if someone asks you, what's money mean to you right now in your life?
Dude, it's just a way for me to make more impact, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've done all the shit too. I've fucking owned all the watches. I still own all the cars. And you know, as passionate as I am about cars, and I still buy cars and shit. I mean, it doesn't mean to me what it once meant. Yeah. I totally get it.
And I'm not trying to dog because I think it's amazing.
Oh, bro, I totally get it. Yeah.
No,
I agree with you.
And let me just tell you where you're going, if you don't mind me sharing, because I've been a little ahead of you, right?
Yeah.
Is when you first start doing it, you enjoy the impact, but it's a part of your company. You're making money. If I can make money and help people at the same time, man,
right.
I thought I was going to be at McDonald's when I was a kid, right?
Yeah,
so, but then all of a sudden, when you start really making an impact, and no matter where you go, somebody says, dude, I was down on my luck. I got your stuff. My life changed. I mean, fortunately, I've been doing this for so long. It's not because but I've sold millions and millions of people. So wherever I go, in the airport today, on the way here, my driver today is like, dude, I got your stuff. You don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, when you start making that impact, all of a sudden, it's not just I want to help people and make money at the same time. All of a sudden, that delivering value to people and helping change people's lives, it gets stuck in you.
Yeah.
Like the impact.
Dude.
I'm watching it with you just a little bit. I know you, but watch how this impact. You will be obsessed on impact. And and I'll share with everybody right now, the people who last in this industry are not, let me figure out how to sell shit and let's try to make it good.
Right.
It's like, I need to impact the world. What do I have to do to sell it?
They have a real purpose.
I'm a badass marketer.
Right.
I sell on video better than anybody.
Yeah.
But I got so good because I knew if I get my stuff in people's hands, it changes their life. So I have to
it's
be
complete
good.
confidence.
Like,
and dude, it's authenticity too, like we talked about out there.
Yeah.
People, when you know you're offering real value, like when we're doing our entrepreneurship academy right now.
Awesome.
Like, dude, I walk out of there fucking pumped. Because I didn't know what to expect because I haven't worked on camera. I walk out of there and I'm like, dude, that shit was fucking good. And Vaughn's always looking, Tyler, they're always looking at me saying the same shit. And I'm not thinking of like, oh, how much money we're going to make by selling it. I'm thinking like, dude, this is going to fix the problem of all these fucking kids following these douchebags that are faking it. Because this is going to teach somebody how to run a real fucking business, not how to sell widgets on fucking Facebook ads for a week until they're fucking done.
And the thing is, because of that impact, the byproduct will be a successful shit for you. But nobody realizes that.
Right.
It's too late before they realize it.
Right.
Dean, I told Andy yesterday, he finished recording like a little mini course, and it was just basically the basics. Like here are the 7 steps to basically success and wealth. And it's funny because
mindset. It's about mindset.
Mindset.
Like how wealthy people think
things.
differently than regular people.
Yeah. And I told him, I said I didn't want to like state the obvious, but we finished, and something just settled on me, and I thought, this is like 1,000% legit. If they do this, they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it like surprised me.
Yeah, you said that to me, and I'm like, yeah man, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, I don't know why it surprised me.
Because you're too close. You're so close.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, I think it's because there are so many scams out there. There are so many people muddying up the waters for people that it's like you're almost defensive even when you're doing the right thing. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know
No,
how to
it makes
explain
total
that.
sense.
But
Dude,
but when he was done, I was
said-
like, gosh, this is going to change people's lives.
Dude, I said this earlier. I before we got on the air, I said this to Dean. I said, dude, people like you and people who are successful, legitimately have built shit, have an obligation to teach people how to do it.
Yeah.
Now, it's not because like you said, they're the waters are so fucking muddy.
Yeah.
It used to be on TV. Everybody was credible. Now there's fucking 1,000 of those dudes, and you're not. Who the fuck is which? Who knows what? Dude, there needs to be some real motherfuckers teaching these kids how to do shit. You can't fake this shit. Like a lot of people out there are trying to create this system and try to sell it when they've never done anything.
Yeah.
And dude, that's when they're like, okay, well, should I say this sentence here or should I say this sentence here?
Yeah, should I have the red arrow to the opt-in
Right.
page?
Or is it going to A/B close or whatever? Dude, fuck that. That's not how I fucking sell.
No, it's not what I teach. Literally,
Right.
when we got a mastermind, me and my buddy Joe Polish. We call it Genius X. It's $100,000 to be in my mastermind.
Yeah.
We sold it out, 20 people, and when people come and they want to learn how to
Do you
be
do that
better
every year?
We do. We meet 3 times a year.
Okay.
So
When do you open it back up?
We just open it back up. First
Okay.
meeting is in February next
That's
month.
cool.
But when people ask me how to get better on video, everybody's thinking it's a technical thing. And all these guys are badasses in the room. They're all passionate about what they do. They're anywhere in the room from 10 to 500 million a year in sales. And I just help them tap into their own authenticity. They watch their numbers quadruple because they're just living the experience.
Right.
But so many people taught them, just like in school, it's like, you got to follow this format. You got to use the red arrow.
Dude,
and
I got
the opt-in
a
button should be
fucking D
under.
in public speaking. A D. Now I'll get paid $75,000 per pop to speak. Think about
awesome.
that. Like, I want to go back and find that motherfucker and be like, here's your fucking D, motherfucker.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I
That's awesome.
yeah, dude, fuck. I think about that all the time, man. Like, I think about all the motherfuckers that told me that I was shit. I'm just wired that way, man. Like, I am driven by fucking.
What's the quote I just showed my daughter? I said, success is the best revenge. You don't have to
dude.
say a fucking word.
I'm-
All of them get this. They turn on
Yeah.
Instagram like, fuck
Bro, I
this.
fucking love it. Like, when someone tells me, like, dude, you can't do that or you're not going to do that, which happens less and less, but I keep expanding my goals so then it happens again. But fuck, dude, it fires me up.
Yeah, of
Nothing
course.
gets me more motivated. I know not everybody's like that, but fuck, I am. Sometimes I wish I could change it because I like.
Nah, I don't, but
I
that's
get
your
like
fire,
fucking
dude.
crazy, dude.
So do I.
Yeah, like I get crazy. Like Emily will look at me and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I'm like, "This motherfucker," blah blah blah. You know, like, it's just I don't know, man. It's a good fire, you know.
Yeah, here's the thing. Everybody listening too. It's like use whatever you can
Dude,
to be
use
your fire.
everything.
Yeah, whatever you can and
Yes.
everything to be your fire. So some people say they're down in their dumps saying shit's bad, going through personal, financial. It's like, then get fucking madly, deeply disturbed by that and run away from it in a better
Yeah,
direction.
that's right.
If you're doing okay and you're sick of complacency, then dream, build a vision board,
Yes.
put your new house, put
and
your
that's
boat.
a big
It
spot
doesn't
that we
matter.
never talk about too. Because a lot of the people who are listening are successful people. They're doing well. They're making 6 figures or even low 7 figures. Okay, they're doing okay, and that's a dangerous fucking place, man.
It is.
Like the most dangerous place you can be is in that middle spot where you've
is.
made a little bit.
You got a taste, but you're not over the hurdle yet.
Dude, because all you're going to end up doing is living the same way you lived when you weren't making any money.
Yeah.
You're going to live paycheck to paycheck. You're going to buy all the cool shit. You're going to be, you're going to look rich, but you're not going to be rich.
Right, exactly.
And dude, I struggle with that too, man. When I went through a time where I started making, I didn't make any money for 10 years,
Right.
so to speak. So when I, my first year, I went from $45,000 to $180,000, and dude, that $180,000 felt like $10 trillion.
Oh, of course. You're rolling.
So, yeah. But it was gone like instantly. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I learned that, but you have to, luckily for me, my spending habits are fucking obscene. So that
Gotta keep
motivated me
making
to
it.
make more money.
You gotta
know
keep
what I
making
mean? It's funny how you're talking about using everything, because I definitely have done that. Like even buying shit. Like when I was like in the middle where I was making, $250 or even $700 or something, less than $1 million, I would fucking spend it all so that I could fucking get motivated again. Because like, dude, that's what motivated me. You know what I mean? But now I've grown up a little bit. It's different now. But there's all kinds of ways that you can use yourself.
And,
Use to get
just
motivated,
use it. Even if, like I said, if it's the most disturbing thing in the world, feel the pain of it. Don't ignore it.
Yeah.
If there's shit disturbing you, like bathe in it. Feel
Yeah.
all of a sudden it causes movement.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it, dude. I fucking love it. Dude, I love that you're a fiery Italian dude too, man. It's fucking awesome. So, dude, you were into cars?
I am. Well,
Yeah.
I grew up in a car business.
So are you still into cars?
No, not as much.
What's your favorite car?
You know, I got a Range Rover and a Tesla.
Okay. Which one? Which Tesla?
What's it? The P85?
Oh, okay.
D85?
Yeah.
It's terrible. I don't know.
So you used to
actually
be
Joe Polish bought it for me as a gift.
Yeah, that means you're doing something right.
Yeah, I hooked him up on a podcast on a training we did, and he made $1 million. So, and I wouldn't take any money from him, so he bought me that.
That's badass.
It's fast as shit.
Yeah, those are quick, dude.
I got a Range
My uncle's
Rover,
got one.
Escalade.
Yeah.
I had S classes forever too, but I like the Tesla.
Yeah.
The only thing with the Tesla when I first got it, I get motion sick. There's nothing I can do to shake it.
I do if I ride in the passenger seat.
Yeah, me too. If I'm in the back seat or passenger seat, right? So I'm driving the Tesla. And do you ever drive with anybody who's a 2-foot driver and it drives you nuts? Gas brake, gas brake. My grandmother did that when I was a kid. It's like, I'd be in the back seat fucking green, ready to puke all the time.
My wife,
She would also do this.
My wife is listening right now laughing her ass off because the last time we were in LA, we rode with a taxi driver.
It was a 2-foot driver.
Oh my god, dude! It was the worst fucking experience.
And it's usually too hot in the taxi.
Yeah.
While he's doing 2-foot, like,
dude, I kept rolling the window down, and the motherfucker kept rolling it back up. I'm like, dude, it's either roll the window down, or I'm gonna fucking puke on your head.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
No, so I get in the Tesla and don't realize. So it feels like a 2-foot driver. So every time you go and you let off, the car goes.
Straight, yeah.
It's because it's self-charging, and I didn't realize. So I parked it. I didn't drive it for 4 months, and then someone says, "Oh, you could shut that off." So I hit the button on the dash, and now it doesn't. So you don't get as many miles, but now it's like a regular car.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
But I had Mustangs. I went through a Mustang phase when I was a kid. I went through a Porsche phase. I had a bunch of Porsches.
Yeah. I've been through everything too, except Ferrari. I've not owned any Ferraris, but
especially after the Vegas trip.
Oh fuck no! I'll never. Those things are pieces of shit. First of all,
what's your favorite car?
Oh man, my favorite car. My favorite car I own right now is I have a 70 Chevelle 454 LS6.
Nice.
It's black with white stripes. That was like my fucking ultimate
dream car.
Yeah, dream muscle car, right?
Yeah.
That's my favorite car now. I go through phases, man. I'll go through phases where I'm into certain things and, then get into other things. Probably the most recognized car I've got that people know about is I have the first customer delivered 2017 Ford GT. So the new Ford GT.
Yeah.
And it's painted a special orange color that is it's one of one. So
dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
you
cool.
Gotta keep that one forever.
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
I like buying cars. One of my partners was obsessed with. He always talked about it. This guy's got money, but he always wanted a '68 SS Camaro convertible. Yeah. Right. So when we were doing business together, we had a good year, and I spent $150,000 and bought him his dream car and gave it to him for his birthday. Yeah. And another partner of mine wanted that. They take a Jeep, and you ever see when they do the Jeeps over and they put like turf paint on them, and they put the big fenders. I forget the name.
Yeah.
So I bought one of those last year for my other partner as a gift.
That's cool.
Yeah,
dude. I love cars, man. I've got another car. I've never been a Mustang guy, but I say I'm not a Ford guy, but I fucking own all Fords.
I was just about to say you've owned like 3 Mustangs at once.
No, I've got 3 Ford GTs. I've got the fucking 2 Mustangs. What else do I got that's Ford? Anything?
Well,
I just won't own a Ford truck because I had 2 Ford trucks and both of them fucking blew up. Like one of them literally blew up 5 miles down the road from when I got it. Like the fucking engine blew. $12,000. I mean, I had to pay it, but I mean, what the fuck, Ford? They're gonna get mad at me for saying that. They make awesome
Ford's
cars.
Amazing.
They make awesome cars, dude. They make awesome cars. I don't like their trucks, but.
I was just going to ask, Dean, we've talked about visualization before in our podcast, and Andy's shared some of his personal habits for like keeping his gratitude alive, that kind of thing. What's your morning look like? Like, how do you renew your vision?
Yeah, that's great. I have a morning routine that if I stick to it, I'm in a good place. And if I don't, I screw my day up. So I share with them. Here's a quick little... I've talked about this a lot, so I'm glad you asked that question because I believe, especially now, that there's nothing more important than your morning to set your day up for success. Because if you set your day up wrong, you have less confidence, right? Yeah. Like to me, protecting my confidence is the number one thing that you have to do on a daily basis. And how do you stay confident? When you're grateful, when you feel right, when you have a vision, when you're pointing your positive point in the right direction, all those things. So I'm gonna run through just a quick little morning routine. So first one, I learned this from Ariana Huffington, who started Huffington Post. She's cool as shit. Yeah. She's awesome. She's at 60 years old, she started Huffington Post, sold it for $350 million, and still owns half of it.
That's badass.
You know what I mean? That's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
So she taught me this about at night when you go to bed, put your phone on airplane mode. because we'll all roll over. And to me, what it means is you put yourself in defense rather than offense. It's the way I look at it. You guys can figure it out any way you want listening. But if I roll over in the middle of the night, you get a text that's not perfect. You're like, shit, puts on your head. And you wake up in the morning, or if you wake up first thing in the morning, you roll over and look at your emails and texts, or you look at your cryptocurrency going down, or you look at your stock market going down, or you go to social media and realize your picture didn't get as much likes as you thought.
Right.
It just alters your brain a little bit towards the what could go wrong column. So here's the routine. At night, put your phone on airplane mode and just freaking figure it out on how not to check it as soon as you wake up. As soon as I open my eyes, if I will, and I do it most of the time, not all the time, I'll just spend a couple minutes being grateful. Now everybody knows that, so just lower the bar of gratitude. Like if you're listening right now, you're listening. 150,000 people die every day. That's the stat. Every day, 150,000 people die. If your eyes open, you're a lucky bastard. Doesn't matter what. Like, you're not one of the 150,000. So I found a way to lower the bar where I'll just be like, I'm grateful for these amazing sheets. I'm grateful because it's nice outside. I'm grateful for the air in this room.
Right.
Or read a couple sentences out of a personal development book, or listen to you for just a couple minutes, right? So the way I feel is that if I do that, if I leave my phone on airplane mode, don't check it, and then I think in that frame of mind, I'm in a grateful mood. And then I just think of my intention, what I want to solve today. What do I want to kick ass on today? So just for a moment, like today, I'm going to come meet Andy. I'm going to kick ass on this. I'm going to fly. I'm going to do this. I'm going to see my kids before I go. I'm going to get a big smile and a kiss before. I'll just think, all this takes 3 minutes. I'm done in 3 minutes. I don't have time to do an hour meditation.
Right.
So I feed my soul, and all of a sudden I'm in a different place when I step out of bed. And then for me, I want to feed my body. So for me, it's just a routine. I'll as soon as I get downstairs, I'll put a scoop of green drink. I'll do apple cider vinegar, some MCT oil, and squeeze a lemon in a full glass and down that. And then I move immediately. I have to go to the gym in the morning for me because my days get going. I don't want to stop. I don't want to go work out at 6. I'm already in work mode. Yep. So I go move immediately. And then when I come back, I have a little routine. But when I come back, I'll do what I get to do. So I change my to-do list to get to do. So those little things, you can alter it any way you want. If you meditate, you can put more time in it. But setting the intention for the day and having the confidence when you jump out of bed rather than, because if you're facing the day like, shit, I got to get through today, that day is done. Right. Just that frame of mind in the morning is like, what can I do today to get through the day? It's like you're screwed. Right. All you're doing is wait until the nighttime so you can go back to sleep. Right. And we can, that's not even living, we can go unconscious like that for years. There's people listening right now that are older that have been unconscious for years. Right. Right. They're
just, dude, by the way, I know a guy who makes the best greens product in the world. I know him. I know him well,
Which
too.
one?
He's sitting right here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I'll give you some before you go out.
I'm ready for it. Yeah. I've been doing the same one for a while. I'm ready to switch it up.
You'll like this.
Ours is actually green.
It's a new processing technique on greens. It's low temperature processed greens.
Love it.
Way more bioavailable.
I've been doing it for 12, 15 years every single morning.
They make a big fucking difference.
Yeah, they do.
Dude, the minute I added them in, I was stuck at because I lost 110 pounds the last 2 years. So
amazing.
I got stuck at 260, 265. The minute I added greens in, dude, I dropped down to 245 in almost 4 weeks.
That's awesome.
Dude, it made a huge difference.
And plus it kills cravings. Dude, the sugar cravings.
It makes you feel good. It's like a natural, it's a non-stimulant energy form too, man. There's so many good things about it, but I'm with you on that, dude. My routine's almost exactly the same. I just do the gratitude when I'm brushing my teeth. We talked about it here on the podcast before.
That's great.
I'm glad you came out here and just basically validated everything I told him. So dude, I'm a morning guy as well, man.
Me too.
Not early morning. I'm not an early morning riser, but I have to get my workout in the morning.
Yeah.
So, dude.
Dean, I'm going to just turn people's attention to your Instagram account.
Okay.
So it's Dean Graziosi. I'm going to spell it for people because people always ask me to spell it. DeanGraziosi.
That's it.
Okay. And same on Facebook and pretty much everywhere.
Yep.
Are you on Twitter?
Yeah, but we're mostly on Facebook and now killing it on Instagram.
Sounds good.
So, dude, first of all, thanks for coming on. I do have one last question that I want to ask. And I've been asking all my very successful friends this. This has been kind of a new recent thing because I feel like it's such a fascinating question. All right. So there's two types of people. There's people who love to win and there's people who hate to lose. Which one wins? And which one are you?
I think I'm a love to win guy, and I think a love to win. I think a love to win guy will come out in the head. Yeah. Nobody likes losing,
right?
But man, I love the story of how do you get the tallest building in town?
Right. It's not by smashing everybody else.
Right.
Down.
You can either smash everybody else's, yours is the tallest, or you could just focus on yours and make yours so fucking big they'll never catch you.
Right.
I tell my kids that all the time. When someone's rude to them, they're at an age where there's people, bullies and saying something. I'm like, you want to be the person that just builds yourself up, or do you want to worry about what they say? You know, build
Right.
your building, just focus on you, and they'll just someday all they'll do is look up and admire your tall building.
Yeah. I think so I'm a hate to lose guy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that. I personally am still in this. So I feel like we go through phases, right? Like when you're
course we
young
do.
and you have shit to prove, you're definitely a fucking hate to lose.
I want to tell you, I was
Yeah.
absolutely a hate to lose
Right.
guy. It's just evolution.
Right.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with
No,
it.
no, no. I think we
that
all go
got you
through
here.
it.
That
yeah,
got
for
you
sure.
here.
No, dude, we
Yeah.
all go through it. It goes back to using everything.
Yep.
So when I was young, and still to this day, I would say I'm more of a hate to lose person because people perceive me as very successful, and I am very financially successful, but I'm so far from where I want to be that I still feel like I got a shitload to prove.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I still feel like that hate to lose guy. And I do feel like it's funny because all my friends who are slightly older than me, and then I've Grant, who's fucking ancient. If you're listening, Grant, you're old as fuck. Okay. Guys who are slightly older than me, they all say love to win. You know what I'm saying? But the guys who are my age and younger, they all say hate to lose.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to realize that I think it's an evolution. And I
It
think
is
it's
an
where you are.
evolution. Yeah.
And one thing I noticed, I'm starting to give more thought to the love to win thing because I'm a big believer in the law of attraction.
Yep.
Focus and vibes and all that. And somebody made a comment, and I don't know who you are, but I'm sure you're listening, on my Instagram and said, you know what? I think I understand what it means to hate to lose, but I've been putting more thought into it, and you attract more of what you love and what you focus on and what you get. And for that
That's a
reason,
really good point.
I'm going to be someone who loves to win from now on. And I'm like, fuck, that was good.
That was good.
I'm like, shit.
Because you don't even want the word lose. You
That's right.
might be pointing in the wrong direction, right?
So I've got to work on myself to start fucking thinking that way. I was like, damn, dude. That was a good nugget. I don't remember who said it, but man, that was really good. If you said that, good job.
Yeah, good job.
Because it
I
made
like
me really
it.
think. Like,
Yeah.
like not many comments that I get make me like sit down and be like, man, fuck, maybe I'm wrong. Like, but that was a good one. I'm like, fuck, I need to become a love to win guy. Because it's the truth, man.
Yeah,
I've gotten
sense.
every single thing that I've focused on and thought about everything my entire fucking life, and I can give
and vision is so important.
everything. And dude, like if I'm getting fired up about and thinking about losing, man, maybe I'm attracting a little more losing than I want to have. I don't lose very much.
Maybe
but-
you're going to be converting.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
might
mean? This might be the turning point for
yeah,
you.
it might be like when Vaughn decided to not be a pastor because he wanted to have sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
That was a
right.
turning point.
That's right. It was a
Exactly.
big turning point. So, dude, thank you so much.
This was awesome,
Yeah,
dude. This
I
was
appreciate
awesome.
you coming in.
I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I will be for life
likewise.
now.
Likewise, guys. I don't have any fake motherfuckers on this show, and I know if you listen, you got extreme value out of what Dean had to say. So make sure that you follow him, you subscribe to what he's doing. Check out his new book. Tell people a little bit about the book, just so they can get a little bit of a rundown about it.
Yeah. So I just looked back for all the years and figured out what are the habits that allowed me to be successful.
Right.
Right. It's like the habits that I figured out in my 20s, my 30s, 40s, and through the evolution. And what my gift is, I know how I write in a way that people actually get it and it sticks. So the book is just an evolution of habits that you could take out shit that's not serving you and replace them with habits of not just me, but the most successful people on the planet. So that's why it's killing it.
How many habits are there covered in the book? Do you know?
I think there's about 36.
Okay.
But
So there's a
it's-
lot of shit there.
Yeah, but they're not heavy. They're not like New Year's resolutions
Right.
where you got to become a different human
Oh,
being.
no.
It's about taking out shit that's you're going to notice like, man, that doesn't do anything for my life.
Yeah.
And just replace it with this way of thinking or
Okay.
this attitude or this way to set goals.
Dude, I can't wait to check it out, man.
It's killing it. It's why
Yeah.
people are going nuts over the book.
Yeah. Well, guys, support Dean. He's one of us. We love him. I can't wait to have you back on, man.
It's going to be fun stuff, man. Appreciate you.
All right, bro. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. As always, if you got value out of the show, which I guarantee you did this time, please remind your friends and your family to listen to the podcast. Check it out. That's all we ask. I'm not going to hound you with a bunch of asks to buy stuff. Just give us a review, refer a friend, hook us up. Talk to you next time.